Okay, so I need to tell you about what happened at the Crossroads Motel off I-40 in New Mexico. This was like 3 weeks ago, and I still can't sleep right, man. The cops told me I was the 7th guy to complain about room 114 in the past 6 months. 7 guys. But here's the messed up part. I'm the only one who actually saw him, the only one who caught him in the act, and what he was doing, what he'd been doing to all of us while we slept. I should have died that night, or worse. Let me start from the beginning. So, I was driving from Phoenix to Albuquerque for this job interview, right? Software engineer position, pretty decent money. It was supposed to be like an 8-hour drive, but my car started making this weird grinding noise around 10 p.m. And I was still like 3 hours out from Albuquerque. I pulled off at this exit that had like one gas station and this rundown motel called the Crossroads. The sign was half burned out, so it just said CR DOS Moat in flickering neon. Real sketchy looking, you know? But my phone was at 12% battery, I was exhausted as hell, and that grinding noise was getting worse. The parking lot was basically empty except for like 2 other cars and this old pickup truck that looked like it hadn't moved in years, weeds growing up around the tires and everything. I went into the office and there was this guy behind the counter, middle-aged dude, maybe late 40s, with this receding hairline and these really intense eyes that they locked onto me the second I walked in. Made me feel like a specimen under a microscope or something. Need a room? He asked, and his voice was too friendly, you know? Like that fake customer service voice, but cranked up to 11. Yeah, just for the night, something cheap. He smiled real wide, showing these yellowed teeth. I got the perfect room for you. Room 114. Real quiet, private. You'll sleep like a baby. The way he said sleep like a baby made my skin crawl a little bit, but I was too tired to care, man. I just wanted a bed. He took my credit card, and while he was processing it, I noticed his key ring. It was hanging from this belt, and dude, there were so many keys on it, like way too many keys for a small motel. Must have been 30 or 40 keys, all different colors and sizes, jangling together whenever he moved. You got a lot of keys there, I said, trying to make small talk. His hand immediately went to the key ring, almost protective-like. Different locks, different rooms, old building, you know? Each door is a little different. It made sense, I guess. Old motel, old locks, whatever. He handed me the key card. Actually, it wasn't a card. It was an actual old-school key with a big plastic tag that said 114 on it and pointed down the hallway. 3rd door on the left. Can't miss it. And hey, he leaned forward over the counter and I could smell stale coffee on his breath. If you need anything at all, I'm here all night. Don't hesitate to knock. Cool, thanks, man. I grabbed my backpack and headed out. Room 114 was exactly what you'd expect from a place like this. Brown carpet with stains I didn't want to think about, a bed with a comforter that felt like sandpaper, and this smell, like cigarettes mixed with industrial cleaner and something else, something musty and wrong. The bathroom had one of those shower curtains that was supposed to be white, but it turned this gross yellow-gray color. The mirror had a crack running through it, but I was beat, you know? I've been driving for like 7 hours, so I just locked the door, deadbolt and chain, and fell onto the bed with my clothes still on. I set an alarm for 6 a.m. so I could get back on the road early, maybe find a mechanic to check out that grinding noise. I don't even remember falling asleep, man. One second I was staring at the water-stained ceiling, and the next second I was out cold. I woke up at 3:47 a.m. I know the exact time because I checked my phone, but that's not why I woke up. I woke up because I heard breathing. Not my breathing, someone else's breathing. In the room, with me. At first I thought I was dreaming, you know? Like that twilight state where you're not sure if you're awake or asleep. But then I heard it again. This slow, steady breathing coming from somewhere near the foot of the bed. My whole body just froze, like completely froze. I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, could barely even breathe myself. I kept my eyes closed, pretending I was still asleep, and I listened. The breathing continued. In, out, real slow and controlled, like whoever it was didn't want to wake me up. Then I heard something else, a soft, clicking sound, like a camera shutter. Click, click, click. My heart was pounding so hard I thought whoever it was could probably hear it. I could feel the adrenaline just flooding through my system, making my hands shake under the covers. Very slowly, I cracked my eyes open just a tiny bit, just enough to see through my eyelashes. There was someone standing at the foot of my bed. It was the desk clerk from earlier, the guy with all the keys. He was just standing there in the dark, holding his phone up, taking pictures of me while I slept. The light from his phone screen cast this sick blue glow on his face, and he had this expression. He looked happy, man, like genuinely happy, like he was doing his favorite thing in the world.
I must have moved or made some kind of noise without realizing it because he suddenly froze. His eyes snapped to my face and we locked eyes for what felt like forever, but was probably only a second or two. Then he bolted. He turned and ran for the door, and I heard it slam open. The chain must have already been undone, and his footsteps pounding down the hallway. I jumped out of bed, shaking like crazy, and ran to the door. It was wide open, swinging in the breeze. The deadbolt was unlocked. The chain was hanging loose. But I'd locked them. I know I locked them before I went to sleep. I slammed the door shut and shoved the desk chair under the handle. Then I grabbed my phone and called 911. 911, what's your emergency? There was a guy in my room, the desk clerk. He had a key, he let himself in, he was taking pictures of me while I was sleeping. Sir, slow down. What's your location? Crossroads Motel, room 114, off I-40. I don't know the exact address. Okay, sir, stay in the room with the door locked. Officers are on their way. The cops showed up maybe 15 minutes later, but it felt like hours, dude. I sat there with that chair wedged under the door handle, listening to every single sound in the hallway, convinced he was going to come back. When the officers finally arrived, they knocked on the door and identified themselves. I let them in and I was still shaking so bad I could barely talk. They went to the front office, but the desk clerk was gone, just vanished. The front door was wide open, the register was still on, but he disappeared. One of the cops, this older guy with gray hair, he looked at me real serious and said, "You're in room 114, right?" "Yeah, why?" He exchanged a look with his partner. "You're the 7th guest to complain about this room in the past 6 months. Different complaints, but similar circumstances. People feeling like someone had been in their room, waking up and finding things moved, feeling watched." My stomach just dropped, man. 7 people? 7 that reported it. Who knows how many didn't say anything? They searched the room and found something that made my blood run cold. Behind the bathroom mirror, the one with the crack in it, there was a hole drilled through the wall. A small hole, maybe the size of a dime, but big enough for a camera lens. The crack in the mirror was positioned perfectly to hide it. They found 2 more cameras, one in the smoke detector above the bed, one in the air vent near the shower. The desk clerk, his name was Raymond Voss, I found out later, had been recording every guest who stayed in room 114 for at least 8 months, maybe longer. But that wasn't even the worst part, dude. When they searched his apartment above the motel office, they found hundreds of videos, thousands of photos, not just from room 114, from multiple rooms. He had cameras in room 112, room 114, room 116, and room 118, 4 rooms total, all along the same hallway. And it wasn't just videos of people sleeping. He'd been letting himself into rooms while guests were in the shower, standing in the bathroom doorway just watching, taking pictures. Sometimes he'd go through people's luggage while they showered, touch their clothes, their personal items.
The cops found a journal in his apartment where he'd rated his favorites. He'd written detailed descriptions of the guests, their routines, their habits, what they looked like sleeping, what they looked like undressed. I was in that journal, man. Subject 247, he called me. He'd written half a page about me just from the 15 minutes I was at the front desk and the few hours I was asleep in that room. They arrested him 2 days later, found him staying at a motel 3 towns over. He had a backpack full of hard drives and his key ring. That key ring I had noticed? They weren't all for the Crossroads Motel. They were for different motels up and down I-40. 5 different motels over 3 states. He'd been doing this for years, moving from place to place, getting jobs as a night clerk, setting up cameras, collecting his material. He had over 10,000 videos and photos of people. Most of them had no idea they'd ever been recorded. The DA told me I was lucky, said I was the first person who actually woke up and confronted him. Everyone else either slept through it or woke up after he'd already left and convinced themselves they'd imagined it. But here's the thing that still messes with me, man. Here's the part I can't stop thinking about. In his journal, next to my entry, subject 247, he'd written a note. It said, "Woke up, saw me, ruined everything, but I got enough footage. We'll revisit later if opportunity presents itself. We'll revisit later." The cop said it was just the ramblings of a disturbed person, that he's locked up now and I'm safe. But dude, he made copies of everything before they raided his apartment. They found evidence of cloud backups, external drives he'd hidden. They recovered a lot of it, but not all of it. Somewhere out there, that's footage of me sleeping in that room, pictures of me that I'll never get back. And that note, "We'll revisit later," I moved after that. Changed my phone number. I don't stay in motels anymore, ever. I'd rather sleep in my car or drive through the night. But sometimes, late at night, I'll get this feeling, like someone's watching me. And I'll check all my smoke detectors, all my vents, every mirror in my apartment. Last week, I found something that made me want to throw up. I was cleaning out my backpack, the same one I had with me at the Crossroads Motel, and I found a small piece of paper tucked into one of the inner pockets, a pocket I never use. It was a receipt from the Crossroads Motel, dated the night I stayed there. But on the back, written in pen, was a message. It said, "You were my favorite. Sweet dreams, 247. I never put that receipt in my backpack, man. I left it on the nightstand in the room, which means at some point that night, while I was sleeping, he didn't just take pictures. He went through my backpack. He touched my things, and he left me a note that I wouldn't find for weeks. The cops said it was impossible. They said he ran straight out of the motel when I woke up, that there's no way he had time to do that. But I know what I found. And there's something else, something I haven't told the cops yet because it sounds crazy. 3 nights ago, I was at a gas station in Colorado. I'm up here for work now, trying to start fresh, right? I was pumping gas, minding my own business, when I heard keys jangling. A lot of keys. That same metallic jangling sound. I turned around, and there was a guy walking into the gas station. Older dude, different face, different build. But on his belt, he had a key ring, a massive key ring with dozens of keys, all different colors and sizes. And when he walked past me, he looked at me, really looked at me, and he smiled. And then he said, so quiet I almost didn't hear it, "Room 114 sends its regards." And he walked into the gas station like nothing happened. I got in my car and drove straight home. I haven't left my apartment in 3 days. I keep telling myself it was a coincidence, that I'm being paranoid, that there's no way Raymond Voss has people working with him. No way there's some kind of network of these guys sharing information, sharing footage, sharing victims. But I can't shake this feeling, man. That key ring, those keys, the way he said room 114, I've been researching online, looking at forums and message boards, and I'm finding stories, lots of stories. People who stayed in different motels, different states, all reporting the same thing. Weird feelings, things moved, cameras found later, desk clicks with too many keys. And there's this one thread, buried deep in some dark web form I probably shouldn't have found, where people are trading content. Photos and videos of people in motel rooms. One of the usernames is Crossroads R114. He's still active, dude. Posted something 2 days ago. The post said, "Subject 247 has relocated. Colorado Springs area. Still monitoring. Revisit scheduled soon." I don't know what to do, man. The cops say Raymond Voss is in prison. They say I'm safe, but someone is still watching me. Someone still has access to that footage, and someone knows where I am. I bought 3 different camera detectors off Amazon. I sweep my apartment every single day. I check every smoke detector, every vent, every mirror in my apartment. But what keeps me up at night is, what if they don't need to put cameras in my apartment? What if they already have everything they need from that one night? What if revisit scheduled soon doesn't mean they're gonna watch me again? What if they mean they're coming to visit in person? I've been sleeping with a baseball bat next to my bed. I installed 3 new locks on my door. I even got a dog, a big German Shepherd named Max, because I can't stand being alone anymore. But every night at 3:47 a.m., I wake up the exact time I woke up in room 114. And every night, I swear I hear it, breathing that isn't mine, keys jangling somewhere in the darkness, and the soft click, click, click of a camera shutter. If you're listening to this, man, if you ever stay at a motel, check the mirrors, check the smoke detectors, check the vents. And if the desk clerk has too many keys, don't stay in that room. Don't close your eyes, because once they decide you're their favorite, they never really let you go. Wait, do you hear that?